This is Zach Clark, Development and Leadership Coaching. And I want to talk to you about one of my most favorite topics, and that is better hiring for ministry organizations. I really someday want to do like some sort of full-length video seminar, but I want to give you kind of a glimpse of some basic things that we've really, through the years, helped leaders with. Now, I learned these through the years by looking at people who I felt like were just amazing at this, who seemed to not make a lot of hiring mistakes, that seemed to have, didn't just seem to, that did have great retention of team members. And just, who are those models? And piecing together everything I could find and read and learn. And when I found someone that I felt like was really setting a high standard of excellence in this and really recognized, within a company for being excellent at this, then I would set up time just to talk about this issue. And what an amazing adventure it's been. Everything from learning about interviewing to learning about personality testing and profiling, all those kinds of things, learning about preparing people and positioning them well for a strong start. There's so many things that I've been able to learn. And then through the years, I've made enough mistakes of my own in hiring as well. And so not many, but certainly enough to have learned some of these things the hard way as well. So I want to help you by sharing with you some of the things that I've learned along the way from people so much smarter than I am in this topic. But I think this is going to encourage you. So here's some steps for better hiring. First of all, one of the things that I see typically is when someone has a position open, they just promote it. They send out an advertisement, or they put it on a posting, or maybe they already just kind of hire someone that just seems to kind of be there. And while those are not wrong or bad and may often work for you, I really challenge leaders to think about expanding the inputs they have, the roads that great people would find your organization. So through just good old-fashioned traditional networking, being able to quickly describe the kind of person that you're looking for, going after people, really recruiting them. I strongly believe in that instead of what Woody Falk at Chick-fil-A, one of my mentors, he talks about, don't just hire whoever washes over the bow of the ship. Go out and find great people and slowly, carefully recruit them when you know that they're a fit. So you get these inputs, directions. When you promote the position, you're going to get a lot of resumes too. That's an input as well. Another key aspect, though, is that we don't need to just be looking at a resume and then jumping right into interviewing. So one of the techniques that we teach is you're getting inputs, you're getting names, you're having all these potential candidates kind of getting on your list, so to speak. And then what people tend to do is they say, okay, let's look over the resumes, let's select some from interviewing. We actually recommend a process where you give them an assignment first. So you would select from all these inputs and you would give them a test project, something simple, but something that enables you to see their speed of work, their quality of work, their expertise level. I think that is incredibly helpful and adds a level of expectation to the process, even on the part of the candidate. So very, very helpful. And then from there, then do your initial screening interviews. Now, I recommend that you have someone else other than the primary person that's going to be selecting this individual. So if you're the head of the ministry and this person ultimately is hired by you, have someone else do the initial screening. I think it's key for some protection. I think that when they're not talking to their future boss, they communicate differently. And so using that technique is powerful. So have an established list of questions that are asked for every candidate. Have someone else doing those initial screening interviews, whether that's on the phone or face-to-face. And then you're going over those with the person who did that screening and making some selections. So screening interviews. Second, within that, I really recommend that you use personality testing. I know there are tons of different viewpoints on this. If you haven't used these before, you probably think they're useless. The two that we really strongly recommend are the DISC, using a DISC profile, and then the Strengths Finder is excellent as well. It's friendly, it's positive. The candidates typically love being able to take that and learn about themselves if they haven't. And then the Achiever, that's another great one that can be purchased online and used. The validity of these in terms of what you're seeing and hearing about is really now so uncontestable. I mean, it's very, very reliable. But the other thing that's great about this, and this is why we recommend these, is it creates opportunities for conversation that you may not have gotten into just by doing interviewing, because now you have results from a profile, the candidate has seen that, you've seen that, and you have a lot of material to talk about, and that is extremely helpful. And then while there's a ton that I could talk about in terms of interviews, the main thing that I want to encourage you with is do more interviews. I was really convicted one time. I heard a leader say, gosh, and this guy was someone I really looked up to about hiring, and I said, how in the world do you do so many interviews with people? I mean, he was having 7 to 10 conversations with people before making a decision. And he said, well, how many interviews do you do? And I said, well, 1 or 2 usually. And he said, wow, Zach, you must be a lot better at hiring than I am, because I just don't feel like I have enough information to make a really good decision with just 1 or 2 conversations with someone. And gosh, that really challenged my thinking. So I think that you really want to wear people out with interviews and do a lot of conversations, a lot of informal conversations. And there's a risk with that, because the candidate will normally feel like they're somehow getting an inside track. They're really getting to know you. They're spending a lot of time talking to you, both formally and informally, getting an inside track. So is there some risk there? Absolutely. But the more conversations you're having, the more you're seeing who they really are. And that's who you're going to get anyway when you hire them. So if that creates a problem during the interview process and you making a decision to not hire them, it would have created a problem later as well, correct? So that's key with interviewing. And then another thing we teach about interviewing is how involve your team members. I really believe in, even if there's key volunteers that you would engage in interviewing, this gives you the opportunity to get the same questions asked by different people and different questions asked by different people, and they're all hearing the responses, and you can get all those people in a room and hear their feedback, and they are going to have heard so many things that you will not have heard, and you're going to be able to look for consistency. Say, well, wait a second, over here we had this impression over in this conversation, but then a totally different impression here. What is going on with there? Because again, that's what the real normal world of work looks like, right? They're meeting with a lot of people and interacting with them. So a few things about interviewing that I think there are very, very helpful. And then the last component of this is, I think that it's great to have as your final interview, spending a few minutes really trying to talk them out of the job. Because if you can talk them out of the job, then they don't need to be working there. And there's a lot of things you can read up on this, but I do find that that's a common trait among highly effective leaders, is they have, in that final conversation, they've taken some time to really say, are you sure you really want to get into this? Because we've talked about the good stuff, but let me talk to you about some of the hard stuff too. You sure you're up for this? Let's do this together if we're moving forward. So I know that will be helpful to you. This is one of my favorite topics to continue to learn about and grow. I would love to hear from you. What are some of the methods that you use that are so effective? I'd love to hear, were there some things in this video that really challenged you? Because I know I'm sharing with you some things that really, really pushed me as well. So love to hear from you. I look forward to seeing how this impacts what you're doing. And gosh, let's go onward and upward to finding more and more effective people to get involved in your ministry and moving forward toward your vision. Thank you.